Yes, everybody, welcome to the Unrestricted View podcast. My name is Ryan Clifford and it's a Tony Mac preview with myself, JP and Jason. Well, lads, obviously, me and JP were in the coffee club on Wednesday, Jason, so we've obviously been through the Shakhtar game. Obviously, Jason, not the best of results for us in terms of the group. We move on to Livingston on Sunday, which again will be a very hard game. Always stuffy games at the Tony Mac Arena. I've got yourselves, Jason, since obviously JP, me and Jay had a wee chat during the week there. How's things, mate? I hope you are looking forward to the weekend, mate. And what's your thoughts on obviously the game on Sunday, which is getting another tough game ahead at the Astro Park at Tony Mac?
Right, lads, how we doing? I'm looking forward to the weekend. That's my working week is done. I managed to get a ticket to the game the other night there. And again, it's another game of missed chances and missed opportunities. But there's a lot of positives I think to take for it. If you look at it from a team that's not been in Champions League for 5 years, I think there's a lot we can take for it. Maybe I didn't think like that. Maybe get beat off of Leipzig at home right enough, but you know, I think I've calmed down and I've looked at it.
You were having a meltdown, big man, weren't you?
I was, aye. But Sunday's game, I always get nervous with Livi away, because I think it's a stadium that we predominantly struggle at. I don't like the plastic pitches. I don't think plastic pitches should be in the Premier League of any country, professional football. And one of those ones, it's 1-0 down the road, we take the 3 points. But I always get really nervous with it because they're coming off a right good result last week as well. They're a team that they defend well, they're hard to break down. And Martindale always gets them up for it. But as I said, I'll take the 1-0 and do it down the road.
I think JP, that is a thing, mate. David Martindale does get them up for it, especially against Celtic Rangers, especially against us. Let's be fair. Let's not beat about the bush. They're always very good defensively. Normally, against us, they kind of try and obviously at the low block. And I don't want to say part of the bus because they do have the odd chance, but they kind of want to be defensively solid. And if they get a break, they get a break. But the last game against them, obviously, there last year, I was at the game myself. I think we won 3-1.
I don't want to remember that day, to be honest with you.
And that's another circumstance.
Was that the day you had your ankle?
I was the
day I decided to end up in the Royal, aye.
That game for me was 3-1, but Celtic dominated the game. It could be more than 3-1. Another game with missed chances. That was a game where Forrest scored as well. So that was it took some people into that game, but in terms of the game as a whole, I thought didn't really struggle at all. Obviously, Jay, hope you're looking forward to the weekend, mate. Obviously, we're back again, Celtic. So, what's your initial thoughts on the game of the weekend, mate? And obviously, hope you enjoy your weekend, mate, coming up.
Hi, good evening, lads. Nice to see your happy faces. It's always nice to come on and cheers me up every time I see you two guys, man. So it does, it's brilliant. Big man looks like he's ready for his bed in there now. Sitting there like that. Hurry up and talk, come on. No, as I say, bad memories of the last time we played them out there. It was a good result, but it was an overall bad day for myself. I think I was on an episode of Casualty or Hobie City at a point or something. No, as I say, it's a tough game, innit? It's always really stuffy going there, and it's a horrible pitch, first and foremost, especially the way we want to play. But we didn't have any issues at last time. So I think there was a lot of pressure getting put to the media and everybody behind the media, etc. was trying to put a lot of pressure on us the last time. You haven't won there in so long and blah blah blah. And I think everybody at the point, even that mob across the water, were expecting us to drop points that day, just because we have done previously in previous games. And I think we just totally surprised everybody with the way it was a canter, and it was 3 goals that day, going on about 10 with the chances we missed. Martindale didn't really have an answer for his questions in his post-match. I remember, I think at one point a guy was handing him Kleenex, just to make sure, he was that wasn't just the tears. He was absolutely sweating. Because I think he thought himself we would drop points. And then obviously, I think when him and BGO met up that night, went to TGI Fridays, and they go to party booth because it was Gio's birthday, and I'm sure Chase and Sky for Paw Patrol turned up all dressed up for him, giving him a wee happy birthday wish, and he got his wee Hey Dougie birthday cake that day. I know he was really chuffed. I think he was gutted, I know, because some of the boys never turned up. Roy Mackay was and Morrison was buying him jam, so he was too busy. But no, as I say, it's always stuffy. The parts are always horrible, and I agree with you, Tom. Definitely. It's just a kicking match for them all the time. They're big, they're physical. Nice to see your pins, big man. That was nice, yeah. That'd be Friday night show for the boys there, aye.
Oh, the way I'm sitting, man.
Big man's like, he's hitting Friday night special early, man. He's getting the love there.
I better watch what I'm doing, man. I've got a game Wednesday night and I went out for another 6 months, man.
You nearly made me pull my groin just watching you there.
Doing stretches like that.
It's like Jean-Claude Van Damme kick you done there, man. No, as I say, it's one of the ones. It's a kicking match. They're big, they're physical. They'll try and get in my faces, try and upset my rhythm. I'd imagine. I'm imagining they're not going to succeed. I think we've played them often enough now. We know what we're expecting get up there, and you'll have the boys well prepared and kind of well drilled. And here's something. Sorry, beginning there, the Portuguese Stars. Take it, Josh Cadet's got it again, aye.
Well, Josh Cadet used to be the star, mate, but we all know who the star is now.
Aye, I know he's back for injury, anyway, which is really good, and obviously we'll get Big Starfelt back and all. So they're two big plushes. I think it add a bit of steel and some quality in the team as well.
There's the thing, but right. Do you think he's going to risk Starfelt coming back for a knee injury on that pitch?
I think he says today.
Was it a knee injury? Was it me?
He says today. He done an interview inside Celtic Park. It was on Sky Sports. He says he won't risk him. Tomorrow, like they won't start the game. He says he might be on the bench, but he didn't say. He said they want to start the game. And they kind of put that question to him, Jason. Like, do you worry about playing players in the Astro? And he says, no, I just worry about them being fit enough to play yet. Are they fit enough to start the game? And he didn't say they would start the game, but he didn't say they were going to definitely be on the bench, but he said they won't start the game. So I imagine that means they're on the bench. So I think even having Jota on the bench, Jason, it gives you a wee bit of fear for obviously the other teams' lineup, because I've always said when you have guys like McGregor, Jota, Kyogo, if it's Jack, you're kind of getting guys in the tunnel now. That's the way, for me anyway. You're just getting, you're turned up, you're seeing these guys fully fit, especially guys like Jota. We all know Jota. Again, nobody's bigger than the club, but in terms of standard of player, Jota is, some of the guys are bigger than Scotland. Let's be fair here. That's just the way we are. Eventually, these guys are going to have their suitors. But I think Jason, when Jota's what?
John Searles.
John Suitors, he's in the treatment table, isn't he?
He's found his shooter up in Ross Hall.
Even the same word as me in the hospital when that game in March, by the way, he's not got out yet.
But I think in terms of Jota, Jason, like you says, it would be good to see him, even if it's 15 minutes or so, if he's fit enough to play, just to get him back into game time, because obviously Real Madrid next week, again, do you throw him in? Because it's not a pointless game in terms of us as a to try and win the game or try and get something out of the game, but it's a pointless task in terms of the competition. So do you risk him? It's one of the ones. Do you keep him for the league fresh, or do you play at Bernabeu? Because let's be fair, he would want to play the Bernabeu. Who doesn't want to play at Bernabeu? That's just, and I mean, I'd take 5 injections, man, to play for 5 minutes at Bernabeu. Do you know what I mean? It's a massive arena. It's a massive game for the players. But in terms of Livingston, Jota there, Jason, I don't think, for me, he would start the game. Aye. I don't think he'll be starting, Jason, but have him on the bench. It's a plus to have him back. Even get him back in full training, Jason, it is a bonus, because the next few weeks, obviously World Cup, but after the World Cup, it's off the Rangers, and you're wanting to try and get a bit of momentum going into that match, obviously.
No, I don't think he'll start them. I don't know. He might play Starfelt in the Bernabeu just to get minutes in him, just to start him, get minutes in him. But I honestly think he's going to be fully focused on trying to just concentrate on this league now. But you know, if you look at if you're sitting there on Sunday as a Livingston, you look at the bench and you've got Jota, Starfelt, Turnbull, Maeda all on the bench. Probably Kyogo, Giakoumakis or whatever is on the bench. You're going to be like, in hell, do you know what I mean? So our bench is already really strong with it, adding Jota and Starfelt on it. So
yep.
I think it's a massive positive, but I can't see him risking. I personally, for me, I wouldn't be playing any of them on that pitch just because they're just coming back, and you know, they might have the injury might reoccur if they go into that, because it's not as sticky that pitch. You know what I mean? Especially where they start with the boots and that the way you get a lot. You can't play at your full potential on the pitch. I don't think. Obviously the Livingston players are used to it, but I don't think he'll risk them for it. But as you say, he might give Jota 15 minutes, but Starfelt, I think he might just be on the bench just so that he's getting used to being back involved in the team and all that, and travelling and all that again. I don't think we'll see Starfelt to maybe the Real Madrid game just to get minutes in him.
I think so as well, mate. I want to start any of them, to be honest with you. I don't see the need to change much of the team the new. Obviously, you didn't lose against Shakhtar and you won the game before that, so it's not like the team didn't change. But we all know the way Ange's gone, JP. He's been changing the team roughly every game now. Very rarely have we been playing with a select team. He's been changing it. Obviously, injuries, Jota, Turnbull injuries, Starfelt injuries. There's guys been injured. Obviously, Giakoumakis, so he seems to be fit. So again, you've got who do you play up front? Is he going to play Giakoumakis after scoring again, or will he play Kyogo to play him? To obviously, it's to us it doesn't matter who he plays now. But in terms of talking on here, it's a bit of debate. Who do you play? For me, if I'm going to be honest, in terms of, because I know how physical they're going to be, I'd probably play Giakoumakis to offer him up, because I liked what I seen from him against the Nets. He might have not had his best of games, but when he had the ball at his feet, when he was holding the ball up, he was staggering defenders, he was getting fouls. He was sucking them in, he was getting fouls. I didn't think we'd done that enough, JP, and during the week here, because he's done it a few times and he got fouls, he got them turning, he got them pulling his jersey, and I think if we do that all the time, he's going to get you goals, he's going to get you fouls outside. That's just his game. But Kyogo will run the channels, he'll link up the play, he'll get in the box. They do different things, which is benefiting to us, because the wingers that we have got, all they need to do is get the ball in the box, because they know they're going to be there at some capacity. For me, Giakoumakis, I think will suit this. Again, I don't care who you play, but in terms of me, he'll ruffle them up, because they will ruffle whoever's playing up. That's their game. We all know that. And I think Giakoumakis, for me, he's on a high, scored again. Every time, I think he's 20 starts, 19 goals, or 21 starts, 20 goals. Aye. Phenomenal strike. It's a phenomenal.
20 goals.
I just find he's 45 games, 22 goals or something he's got on. It's a phenomenal strike rate, considering he's not started every game. Mm-hmm. And bear in mind, he was out injured for a few months as well. He's been out for a few weeks here and there. So, in terms of goals, as it stands, he's probably the best striker at the club in terms of goal rate. It starts right, but we all know Kyogo's get totally different attributes to him. The two of them are, for me, in this league, they're night and day to any striker in the league. But for me, in terms of Giakoumakis, JP, I've said it for day dot, you need to use him wisely. You need to play his strengths to get the best out of him. If you're not putting the ball up to him, if you're not using him, he's a bit of a passenger, because it's all right saying he'll do doggies, but he's not as quick as Kyogo to do the doggies. He won't get there as quick. He's not going to do that duty more than Kyogo. So he's got to be used wisely. And when I mean wisely, The wingers need to get the balls in the box. The midfielders need to get it up to him, to hold it up, to lay it off, to draw these fouls and draw these guys away from him. So if you do play him, which I think personally, I think he will start, that's just my opinion, I think you need to use him wisely, especially in this part. If you get the ball wide, get it in the box, he's going to be there because he's a fucking goal threat and he loves scoring goals.
Aye, no, I totally agree with you, Ryan. I think he's made for this kind of game, in all honesty. I think if you play Kyogo, no disrespect to the wee man, but I think he'll be wasted in that tie. I said it on Wednesday. The only snag is when you play with Giakoumakis, you can't high press teams.
Aye.
So you've got to play for a mid press because he can press, but he doesn't give you the same tempo and energy as Maeda or Kyogo.
Yep. So
he's just not naturally as fast as him, which is fine. But he's a lot more physical than the two of them put together.
Yep.
And that's what's so good about it, because you've got that variety. And it's the same with our wingers as well, Ryan. We've got a variety. All our wingers are all different types of players. Jota and Haksabanovic are probably similar in types. They're kind of flair players. They like to get the ball into feet and get the head up and take people on. You've got Abada, who's just he's just a born predator, the wee man. He's got that killer instinct. He gets himself in that killer position to get goals. He can eliminate people, Abada. I've seen him do it. He can stun people up and go by people, whether he goes inside or go by them. He doesn't do it often enough. That's my biggest critique of him.
Yeah.
And then you've got Forrest, who can eliminate people also, just with his sheer ability and movement. So, as I said, all our wingers are all different. And then you've got Maeda, who's, like I said, after the game at Ibrox last season, mate, he's at 7:30 at night, man, shutting down people in Paisley Road West. He just likes to run. He's like Forrest Gump when he's learning the game of American football when he runs right out the stadium. That's the type of player Maeda is.
He's come on to a game the last few weeks, by the way.
What's that?
He's come on to a game the last couple of weeks, Maeda.
Well, that's it as well, Jay. I mean, he's not the best of players. He's not technically the best of players. But I think with Maeda, he gives you an energy that nobody, apart from maybe Kyogo, but Kyogo isn't as physical when it comes to tackling players, whereas Maeda, when he closes you down, he lets you feel him as well, he touches you. And he upsets people. See with somebody with that speed, like I say, as a fullback, or you're a centre-half that likes to drift out for the back, you ain't doing that, mate, and a guy like that shutting you down at speed. Mm-hmm. You can't. It's just it's no feasible to do it. So then you need to start playing, you need to think quicker and you need to play quicker because you know what's coming, you know he's coming at you at speed. And as I said, that's what's so good about this collective, is there's a total variety. The same in the midfielders as well. Hatati's fucking unbelievable. He's got some of the best vision I've seen since Nakamura was there. He reminds me of like Alan Thompson. He could pick people up for nothing. He could thread the eye in the middle with a ball. And I think he came under for some really harsh criticism the other night. In terms of people saying he was red rotten, he was poor, and that was just what was going on round about behind me. And I was just sitting there in disbelief. I was like, I can't believe he's actually saying, he's actually crying. I could see the point if he was, he wasn't affecting the game. And he wasn't, he wasn't doing anything in the game. His energy levels weren't there. But he gets up and down the park, he covers the pitch really, really well. And then you've got Matt O'Reilly, who he's had to drop into a deeper role. So now what he's doing is he's playing a pivot role. So what he's doing now is getting the ball and passing it. He's not able to do his creative side of the game, but he can do it for deeper. And the other night, I thought he was outstanding. I mean, he was another man that came under for some really harsh criticism with our fans, in my opinion. And I thought he was different class the other night. I thought he orchestrated everything that we tried to do, playing through the lines. It was just unfortunate. Some of our play just went wayward and it was breaking down through other wee daft things that was happening. But the more like I say, tomorrow's going to be a physical battle. You could look at maybe, I don't know, he could maybe start Abelgard, I know. A big lump of boy, mate, and he's, you know, he's physical. We've seen that in the away game in Leipzig when he came on. He's no fear to tackle.
He's got to be ready now, hasn't he?
Well, Jason, I had this conversation a couple of days ago, and I said that, you know, all right, he came in late the Monday, and he's behind in terms of his training, and he never done next to nothing in a pre-season, more or less. But now he's been with us quite a while now, a number of weeks. I don't know how many in total off the top of my head sitting here, but he'll have a physical training programme where he had to get up, you know, get himself up to speed in order to match the boys in training. So if he's training with the team every day, then in my opinion he should be ready to play. Now, whether it's just the fact that domestically we're playing that well, that you know, Ange is just no want to change too much in there in terms of, because he's done it before. I mean, he done it against St Mirren and he took all the momentum out of the team, but it was too late because the damp squad had already set in on that day by the time he tried to change it all. Even when he brought everybody on, St Mirren were already set in their ways, and just it was hard, really hard that day to break them down. I think it's imperative on Sunday that we get after a fast start. If we can get an early goal, similar to what we did there, you know, the last time, I think then you'll see them having to open up a wee bit as well, because you can talk to that big boy Oberlai. They've got that big boy Nubly, I know, a big striker. So they've got big physical boys in their team. And like I say, if we get an early goal, whether it be off a counter or off a corner, off a set piece, anything at all, it then puts them on the back foot. Then they need to come out, then they need to, you know, open up a wee bit if they want to take anything for the game. And we'll see what happens. But I agree with you in terms of Jackie Mackey's, Ryan. I think that'd be a perfect scenario and obviously game to play him in.
A few comments for the YouTube, Facebook, for Tam Donnelly. He says that Tumbo not doing it for me recently. I can get
he's got to be popular in the house tonight because the big man's
I can get your point, Tam, but obviously he's been injured.
Well, you're in bad company here, Tam.
I've said for day one, Tam, that I think Tumbo gets a shot straw because he's Scottish. I think if he was foreign, they wouldn't be getting some of the jip he gets. I think he's very talented. He might not do it consistently, but
he's been injured as well.
I like him. I like him, but in terms of obviously McGregor, O'Reilly, and Hatate, he's not there yet, but he's definitely a very talented player. When he was fit before he got injured last year with Ange, he played just about every game, so Ange obviously rates him. I do like him. I think he gets a short saw sometimes just because he's Scottish, in my opinion. He would like to obviously see Gucci get a run. I think most of the fan base would like to see him get a run, but I think when you're going for titles and going for cups, it's very hard to give guys game time when maybe the team's doing well. I think maybe the games for him, unless it's maybe a home game, because there's no European football, the chances there's no European football now, so the chance of him getting a game, it might be off the bench, it might be if guys are injured, but if I'm going for leagues and going for titles, in my opinion, again, I'm no Ange, but if I'm talking for me as a fan, what I would like, you can't really go and draft players just to give them game time. You're going for titles and cups. Maybe if you're a few points ahead than the other now, and you maybe give the odd guy a game, fair enough. If he's impressed in training, then albeit give him a game. But I know he's been on the bench recently. If he gets a game on Sunday, if he's on the bench, I might bring him on. Who knows? But I agree with Tam. I think some fans might want to see him play. We can't really judge him because he's not really played. But in terms of my opinion, I want to see guys play. But when you're going for league titles and going for trophies, you can't just give guys games unless they're proving their worth in training. And especially guys, McGregor's according to Ange, Jason, McGregor's ahead of schedule the day I seen that. So don't know how far ahead that is. If it's a day ahead, a week ahead, we don't know. But
His knee brace off and he's back training. I seen him on a video today.
So he says ahead of schedule. Again, there's no really point in risking him until he's fully fit, because we have got cover, we've seen it. In Scotland, we're able to play without him.
What they're saying, Ryan, is he might feature in the Sydney Cup. That's what I heard today.
Right. Obviously, because Scotland's on the World Cup, so that gives him able time. And Riley he's missing McGregor because he gets more room when Calvin's playing. You're probably right, mate, as well, because McGregor does a lot of dirty work and it lets Hatate and O'Reilly go pass forward and sort of stuff. Another comment for Facebook as well, lads. George, looking forward to absolutely destroying Livi. I hope so, mate, Sunday. I hope so. But Jason,
love your optimism, George.
Obviously, Jason, your thoughts on the comments there, and obviously on Jackie Marcus.
I think that
I drank a water first, big man. Throw some cold water up your face first.
I think that that's the type of game for Yakimakis, to be honest. He's physical. I think he'll get in that big Uberlai's face. And it's the right game for him. And the Turnbull comments, I don't know. I think it's been quite harsh to say that about Turnbull, because I think he has been injured. I think to get a fully fit, playing well Turnbull, he needs a decent run in the team, but he's not going to get that now because of how well Hatate and that's playing. So I can understand why he's not getting that. But again, I wouldn't be rushing McGregor back if we didn't need to. We don't need him. I think we're getting by all right with him. I think O'Reilly's. For me, I actually think Matt O'Reilly's really stepped into that role. We've seen a different part to his game. I think he's been a lot more physical for me. I seen that the other night about how physical he was. He was sliding in and all that. He's breaking up a lot of the play. And I think people have been a wee bit overcritical of him because they're maybe no used to seeing that side of him. They're more used to seeing him, the more creative side of him. But he's obviously been told not to do that. Been told to sort of do the McGregor's role. But again, I agree with you, JP. I thought Matt O'Reilly had a right good game.
I thought he was excellent, mate.
I think there was, I remember one bit in particular where he ran through, and the Shakhtar boy had to pull him down because he was steaming right through the full lot of them. Got him down. The boy took a booking for it.
I was the one who's getting right through the middle of the park, wasn't
it? Aye. So, again, I think that's another part of his game that we've seen. And for me, I think that's good for a player that you see him in different positions, because you're like, well, we know we can, that if we need to reshuffle, you've got confidence from going to do that. As much as you do miss McGregor, I'm quite happy to let him sort of take his time and get him back to the fitness and continue what we're doing. But in regards to it, and for Yakimakis, he'll start on Sunday because it's just the perfect Yakimakis scenario for me.
I'd agree with you, mate. I'm a big lover of Yakimakis, mate. I really like him. I like his style of play. He's a goal scorer. I love goal scorers, mate. I think it's and that's the him and Kyle, because he's a goal scorer. But just on the topic of Yakimakis, he strives in goals. He might miss the odd chance, but his stats tell you that he's deadly when he starts. He's just about scoring every game he plays. Me and JP spoke about when we heard about him signing, and when he signed him, I did say, and so did JP, that we've been crying for somebody like him since Hesselink. We've not a big guy like that. I know Dembele was a wee bit rough and ready, but he wasn't a sort of physical presence in terms of Yakimakis. Different type of player. Dembele had a bit more pace about him. He was a bit sharper when he was fully fit. When Dembele was fit, he was sharp. No pre-season. But in terms of Yakimakis, Jason, I agree with JP as well. But he brings something different to us, especially for Europe. It's just a total different dimension to what we're used to. Because we're used to wee guys. Let's be fair, we've only had the big guys since Hesselink, really. Edward was big, but he wasn't that physical, hold up the ball presence. He was more technical and behind the defenders. So the
You're
better the same.
You're forgetting big Chris Killen.
I'm talking about quality here, Jason. Come on. I'm not what I give Chris a service. He was a very good player, played in New Zealand, but in terms of outright quality, physical quality, no, that's not disrespectful. I'm just talking about in terms of guys who can play week in, week out, and day. It's a different level. Giakoumakis probably gets looked upon because where he came from, the level, because he got relegated. But if you look at his stats, he was superb for that team. And I was wondering, me and JP are wondering at the start of the year, why are we getting him for this price? Obviously, he was relegated, but why 2.25, whatever it is, million? Why? What's the catch? And for me, there's no catch. There's proven there's no catch.
You know that season, Ryan, sorry to interrupt you, mate. Do you know that season he scored more goals than Daniel Malin? He went to Borussia Dortmund for 50 or 60 odd million.
Aye, mate, that's what I'm saying. I do agree that for me, he's the main man. You know, I know Kyogo overall, we all know has probably more ability in him in terms of his all-round technical play and everything else, but you can't really criticise any of them or say who you prefer because they're two very different jobs. But obviously another comment as well for George. Big Jack will be in my team every week. I'm roughly the same as you, George. I know he played the two of them during the week, but he kind of played Kyogo more in front of Giakoumakis, and Kyogo was going left and right, and he was wasted. I've said if he's going to play two of them up, JP, he's just got to change his system and play a flat 4-4-2 and just play that.
See you talking about. Sorry to interrupt, Ryan, but see him talking about Kyogo during the week.
Mm-hmm.
He went out to that part and played that position and done what he was supposed to do.
But see, because yours as fans, we're not used to him doing that job, so he's doing the job that's no his sort of play. We're used to seeing him playing up front, so he done it against Rangers. He played him out left, and he said he wanted to do it again. He didn't do it yesterday during the week. He played him rough. For my position, for what I thought he was, he played him roughly like a 10, and he was just going everywhere. He was floating about, going to the left, going to the right, getting the ball. And that, for me, he's a striker. If he's going to play two out of front, Jason, he's got, for me, in my opinion, he's just got to change his system and play 4-4-2. Don't play a 10 or a 9 or whatever. Just play a 4-4-2. But for me, George, I'm a big fan of Giakoumakis. I'm a fan of Kyogo as well. I like you two of them. Another comment as well, I'll put this to you, JP, and you can answer my questions, but I've just said there, mate. Tam, again, what do you think of Moy? I like Moy, Tam, but I think he suits certain games. I don't think he suits maybe a game against Rangers. I don't think that's his game. For me, it'd be O'Reilly, McGregor and Hatate. But in terms of maybe Celtic Park against maybe like Ross County, St Johnstone, to pick passes, I think that's his game. Getting the ball down, picking passes. His distribution for me is very, very good. He played well against Shakhtar when he came on the other night. Maybe a bit of a player, JP. He breaks the play up. Maybe similar. I'm not comparing him to Neil Lennon, but in terms of just the way he plays, he breaks the play down. He gets the ball. He just does a simple thing. Nothing drastic. Just does a simple thing. I like him, but I think some of the guys have maybe get a bit more about them. But he's definitely got quality, JP. And for a free transfer, I don't see what fans are grumbling about, in my opinion. Like, it's just my opinion, JP.
Mm-hmm.
For international, the amount of games he's played in, the tournaments he's played in, the teams he's played for, the highest level in the Premier League. I know he went to China, but that was probably for more money and less preferred than anything else. Free transfer, JP, for me, can't criticise it, because if you go and buy a player for his quality, in terms of experience, you would need to pay money for him. So I like him, JP. I know you like him. He might not be a superstar, but I like him.
I just came back to George's point about Big Giakoumakis not leaving anybody on the park. That's not true, George. He left Big Shirley Bassey and Connor Goldson on the park for Deed. In the game when we beat them 3-0 at Celtic Park. So I have seen him leave something on the park before, mate. Don't worry about that. In terms of Aaron Moy, I think Aaron Moy's a very clever player. I think he's got a bit of quality about him. Listen, you don't play the games in the Premier League. He played, and you don't play with Australia if you've got nothing about you. I think he'd win my 5-a-side team every week. He's that clever on the ball. He's got a different kind of style to the other players we've got. And obviously, that's fine. It's the same with Big Starfelt, Brian. Starfelt's got a different style, the way he passes the ball out for the back. But it's fine. It's just because people are different. It doesn't mean to say they're rotten or they're bad or, you know, you don't just, somebody's different. That's the thing about it. We've got a variety in the team, is what I said at the beginning. Because we've got players, listen, he's an internationalist for Australia and he's gone to the World Cup. Anne thinks he's good enough. Harry Kuehl thinks he's good enough. If that's not good enough for a Celtic fan, then I don't know what it's going to be. And I don't mean that to sound harsh, but I think Aaron Mooy's a very clever player. I think he's very slow. It looks very slow, sorry, on the eye. What he does, but what he does is very effective. I thought he was good there, mate, when he came on. You know, some of his wee passes and he's giving goes and he's wee dinks from the corner. Some of his passing, he was picking Forrest out. He was allowing Forrest then to go on the front foot to get by that boy to what crosses in. I think he's a very clever player, in all honesty. I don't have any problems with Aaron Mooy at all. I just don't think he's going to be everybody's cup of tea. I get it. But he's certainly not the worst player. Who has it said that again, Ryan? Was it Tony?
Tam,
Tony. Don't know where I got that from. Could maybe because I'm looking at a box of Frosties there, I don't know. Don't know the Tiger.
I was a pure dad joke, wasn't it?
Aye.
That's what you call just thinking of something after that you read on the spot, mate. That's how good I'm on, mate. One day once you get a bit older, you'll be like me too, mate. Don't worry.
Mate, I'm getting grey hair, mate, so I'm getting wiser.
So you're getting like me now, aye. No, as I say, Tam, I think Mooy's a very clever player, in all honesty. I think he's got a real barrowload of quality about him. I think he's different, and that's fine. That doesn't bother me, the fact that he's different. But long gone are the days, mate, where we were just signing players for the sake of it. Guys that don't fit the system, guys that can't play in the systems that we set up. In all honesty, there's no project signings. I think me and Ryan spoke about this in the coffee club earlier morning. No project signings whatsoever. I know I'm saying coffee club. I was sitting about a diluting juice and everything the other day. Sitting coffee club. I just had my coffee before we came on. But no, as I say, like who can I use as an example? Like Landry and Guemo.
Eboué, Kouassi.
There you go. Eboué, Kouassi.
Sved.
Different player. I'm trying to think of somebody that plays a similar position to Aaron Mooy. Like Eboué, Kouassi is probably a perfect one just because I think he played more games on FIFA than he did actually for Celtic, to be honest with you.
Do you know what I remember Eboué Kouassi? When he came on for a half a minute at Ibrox for Scott Brown, he got to the centre circle and the final whistle went.
I'll give me shoot, but I think I was at the game.
That was the fastest I've ever saw a guy run.
The Hearts game at Murrayfield. Was it his ACL done?
He was red rotten in that game, but right.
No, he wasn't.
Jason, he was doing well.
He was tearing it up, man. He was really looking good, and then.
Was it an ACL or he's like?
He done a cross, but did they know the?
Was that when Christie came on?
Done his knee?
Aye, Christie came on, but he was doing well, and then he actually played through it for a while, and then
he done it. Did they know they a Cruyff turn away for that? I don't know if it was Prince Babin or that big boy Beningame. No, he done a Cruyff turn. It took him away from the boy, and then he just clutched his knee.
Was it Gomez? No, he played with Hearts.
No, I don't think. If he did, it was a while ago, Ryan. I can't remember. But I know they had that big Prince Wabin for a while. I can't mind if it was him or the boy Beningame that's out injured for them now.
It was under Rodgers, so it might have been him, Bobbin. I can't remember. Who it was.
Aye. I think it might have been Prince Bobbin. And he can play the ball. He can either give the ball to McGregor, but he creates space for himself within a Cruyff turn and turns away from the boy, and then he just clutches his knee and falls to the flare.
No,
to
but
get
I do get your point on that, just JP, in terms of project signings. We've spoken about it. Obviously, Jason, what Tam says, what's your thoughts on Aaron Moy?
I like him. I think I really do. I think he brings a different sort of option to the game. I think his range of passing is possibly the best in the league. I think what he does when he plays is completely.
Oh, the big shout of the week!
Big shout, man!
That's a big time shout.
What did you say that for? Now you're going to have us doing overtime. We're going to do another podcast about that now.
No, there's going to be another podcast listening. No, be waiting just if you're calling on, isn't there?
See if we don't get a result on Sunday, Jason, there'll be a Livi podcast. Aaron Moy's the best player in the league.
No,
that's not what we're saying, by the way. By all means, he never said Aaron Moy's the best player in the league. He said he's probably one of the best passing.
No, but that's what they'll try and make it look like. He said.
No.
People like to twist things in this
industry these days.
I think when he's on, he's completely effortless. Yeah. It doesn't look as if it takes a sweat, but he's doing. Mm-hmm. I thought he was really, really good against Hearts. I really did. I think the last I think the last 3 games he started, he's been in for a shout with getting man of the match. He's been really good. I think. But
he's getting fitter as well, Jason. That's the thing.
He's getting fitter as well.
He's another one that came in late and didn't really do much in pre-season either. So.
And by the way, see if you look at his corner for Yakimakis, his goal on Saturday. What a ball, by the way. What a ball. I just think what he does is completely effortless.
I thought he was very good at Tynecastle.
Another comment I'll put to yourself, JP. I'll obviously say my thoughts on George Greaves. Sorry, I'll press it again. George Greaves, thoughts on Michael Nixon. For me, George, I've been quite praising the board the last few months, really since Hans came in. Michael Nixon, for me, I don't want to say he's transformed the club because I don't know everything he does behind the scenes, but for a fan, they've listened to the manager. They've no qualms about what the manager says, what the manager wants, the manager's been getting so far. There could be players, JP, behind the scenes that Andrew's trying to get, and they'll not be able to get due to money. I find that we don't know. But for my opinion, George, I don't know if you've listened to any previous pods, mate, but I've been praising the board recently. I've been saying to the fans to give the board, I'm not saying a break, but giving my part in the back for what they've done for Ange. They've kind of backed them blind in a certain degree because the board don't know who, obviously the board might have heard of Aaron Moy, but the board don't know how Aaron Moy plays. The board don't fucking know that. The board don't know how Kyogo played, Hatate played. The board don't know that. They're coming and back this guy blind because he's said that in numerous times that Maeda, Hatate, Kyogo, there were his signings. He said to the board, I want them to come in. He spoke about Jota, he spoke about all these guys, or just about his signings.
Every one of them.
In terms of, I know he says about Joe Hart that he spoke to Joe Hart. Joe Hart was already on Celtic's list. Celtic already spoke to Joe Hart. They didn't sign him because Peter Lawwell didn't think it was any sign-on value. Just shows you who was in the board, because how can a year or two later know he's worth something to the club? Don't get it. Again, that's the previous regime. Don't want to talk about that because it's not obviously someone was still there, but Lawwell's he is still a part of Celtic, in my opinion, in some capacity, because he's on this board in Scotland, the European board, so he's going to be part of our club. So he'll maybe be a non-executive fucking director or something. He'll be in some capacity anyway, to be on all these boards.
He's in charge of the Zoom meetings.
In charge of the Zoom meetings, in charge of the anyway. But my opinion, George, I really like what Nicholson's done. Again, us as fans, I don't know everything he does. I don't know a lot of what he does. I just know he's in Riange and does a lot of things behind the scenes in terms of recruitment and obviously in the board. I think he's brought a freshness to our transfers and what we're doing. We're not signing what we're speaking about projects. We're not signing £3.5 million in Kamalas and Kouassis and Bios and Bargassis at £5 million who's not going to come and make an impact. We're signing guys. The only guy who I've not really come in, he's done much for the top of my head, JP is Gucci, but he's been injured, so you can't judge him. McCarthy's still coming and doing things. Do I think McCarthy was an unsigning? No, I think he sanctioned it, but obviously he spoke to him and he's liked what he's heard. But in terms of own ability-wise, I think he's already on Desmond's books or Celtic's books because he has been for years. They've been trying to get McCarthy for years for what I think anyway.
Aye.
I don't think so. I think that's maybe a Desmond signing. I might be wrong. People might shoot me down and say, "No, Ryan, you're talking shite. Here's the facts." Then please tell me what, because I can't come out there and say I know from facts. But for what I think it was this isn't already made before Ange came in. I think he was already on the books. I might be wrong, but that's just my opinion. But on Michael, JP, your thoughts, and then we'll go to Jason.
I've been pleasantly surprised in a way, especially with this manager, because he just the way it all happened. And if you take yourself way back to the beginning, obviously it wasn't Michael, it was Dominic Mackay. We were led to believe, he was a man that signed Ange, he was a man that done this, he was a man that done that. Obviously, now we know that was nonsense. He was a man that was very inexperienced at that role, which is why he never lasted too long. Michael Nicholson had been mucking away lovely in the background. Obviously knew the role inside out. He was with the club for a long time. I think he was part of, as you call it, Ryan, the old regime. There's some, although the guys that are there now were part of the old regime, but they've now been brought to the fore because some of the old regime have moved on.
It's a total different way of working on it. Total different.
Aye, a total different. Celtic have now become a model. They've got a working identity now, and that's all because of Ange Postecoglou. Ange just came in, and I think Ange, before he took the job, has obviously gave them, a bit of, right, if you want me and you're serious about it, then you need to do it my way. I want to do this. I want to have full control. I want this and I want that. And if you're not willing to do it, then I'm not coming. And they've obviously just says, we want you. It doesn't matter. Come and bring your twist on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he's came in, and as you said, Ryan, he's backed Ange Postecoglou blind. And watching the documentary, it's just that Michael's on that as well.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm really surprised, because normally you see the kind of guys taking a back seat when it comes to stuff like that. But no, he put in his wee bit, and he's been on Celtic TV a couple of times talking to Jeremy McCulloch and some other people. So no, he's not afraid to come forward. And everybody Ange has asked for, he's got. And it's took a wee while to get it all in place. But obviously, we went a full season when we didn't have Harry Kewell. Mm-hmm. Now we've got Harry Kewell. Listening to Harry Kewell's interview the other day with Michael Bridges on Up to Sport, it came to light that Harry Kewell's Ange's assistant manager. Which, again, that totally shocked me, because I think right offhand everybody's thinking it's John Kennedy.
Aye.
And obviously it's no. Kennedy's obviously
I thought it was.
No. Well, obviously, according to that interview with Harry Kewell and Michael Bridges, it's on YouTube, mate. You can get it. Anybody that's listening, you can go and have a listen to it. And he tells you. Michael Bridges says to Harry Kewell, so what likes it being the assistant manager now instead of a manager? Because Harry used to be a manager before he came to us.
Aye,
and obviously, for whatever reasons, he was maybe inexperienced at that role, didn't work out, and then he tells you himself he never had proper guidance, which is why he's took Ange Postecoglou up on his offer when Ange contacted him and asked him to come to Celtic. But not only that, Ange obviously knows through the City group. Ange obviously knows Peter Lawwell's son, Mark Lawwell, who has came in and more or less I think he's his chief scout. I think that's the role he's doing. If somebody else knows different, then you can correct me. But I think he's Ange's head of recruitment, sort of chief scout idea. And again, it's all down to Ange, because we've heard rumours about, at the beginning it was Ange and Ange's agent that was doing all the chasing for players, and it was taking dead long. And we actually nearly missed out on Juranovic because of the inexperience of Dominic Mackay. Dominic Mackay, I think, went forward with that. Was trying to press forward with that, and just because of the, his lack of experience in the field, it was kind of going tits up to, I think, Ange's agent had stepped forward. and Angie self had stepped forward to try and get that deal done. So, as I say, but like I say, Steve, Ryan, these things are all rumours, but this is what obviously people are saying, you know.
Yeah.
And as I say, it's now running smoothly. It's running the way Ange wants it to. And as far as I'm led to believe, lads, see, when it comes to Celtic and the youths, everything's all running in the same way. So see, when the youths come up to play a match for the Celtic first team, the boy will know what's happening. He knows the situation. He knows what position he's going into. He knows in that role what strategy, what exercise Ange wants him to perform.
That's what we spoke about for at length, mate, in a lot of podcasts last year.
And we've not had that in a long time, right?
A lot of podcasts we spoke about it in quite in depth. Not every podcast, but now and again we spoke about how when Neil Lennon it just looked like the first team. For me, we spoke quite a lot, JP. It was always, I noticed it more when Harper and Okoflex came in, when obviously that big fiasco happened with Dubai. And I do believe that was what highlighted to me that the youth had to change because they were a big step away for the first team.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I just don't. It wasn't working because you seen the level of play that came in, and they just looked like they were lost. It was like they had no identity how to come in and play that system. And now, like you've said, Andrew's obviously got it. If it's 4-3-3, they're all roughly playing the same way. It's all attacking football, and that's only going to help us, JP, because we've said for day one, if they're under 5s or under 10s, whatever it is, if they're all doing the same, they don't need to transition then into the first team because they know that they're just going right into the 4-3-3. It's attack and press. You defend for the front, and then you play for the back. That's the way it is, and that's only going to benefit. And
obviously in transition, you're compact and you're set and you're in, and you make it harder for it. I know, but I think what the problem is, Ryan, I think because we saw it in the summer, even like the big boy Bosun Lowell and a couple of the boys, some of them look like a rabbit in the headlights. Now, I know they were only pre-season friendlies, mate, but for the B team to the first team,
it's a massive gulf.
It's a golf step up, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's massive. It's humongous. And that's the job now. That's what Stephen McManus and you know, that's what they all need to do now. They all need to bridge that gap now. They need to get from there to there and make the boys physically ready to go, and try and nourish the proper quality that's ready to come in. Should something happen to Kyogo, Giacomakis, like in the one season, we lost Kyogo and Turnbull back to back. Yeah. We went up to St Johnstone last season and we told them, but we had to bring on like Big Dawson and the boy, I think the boy Ben Dokes was only a young boy. Obviously he's at Liverpool now, but he was on the bench that game. And then there was a couple of games where Ben Dokes did get on the field. Well, obviously he brought him on in the 3-0 game. Brooks, I was going to say, at Celtic Park. And obviously he played against Dundee United and that as well. So I think Anne's tried to give the boys something to say, look, we want you to stay, we want to try and keep you. This is a wee taste of what you can have in front of a packed Celtic Park. But obviously the boys' seed was already turned. Maybe there was talks happening in the background, and I think we spoke about that before as well, that, you know, maybe the boys' seed was already turned. And obviously the finances was probably a big impact as well, because, you know, let's face it, Celtic aren't going to pay thousands upon thousands for a 15, 16, 17-year-old boy, mate. I know these teams down in England are crazy, because that's what's happening with a lot of their money. And some of the boys don't even see the light of day down there. You hear about them. Look at Charlie Masonda. He was meant to be the next big thing. He came up here, man, and he couldn't kick his own backside.
Well, look at Chelsea. I think was it last year? Again, don't quote me exactly the numbers, JP, but was it what, 30 or 20 odd players out on loan or something last year?
Aye.
For the youth, it's
but that's what happens, mate, when you've got loads of money. And
that'll be a comment as well for Tam again, mate. I would have Peter Lovell back in a minute. I know it's controversial, but I think his record for winning is good, although he did fuck up on a few good players. just my opinion, boys. No, Tam, again, it's always going to split opinion, mate, because let's be fair, because of the season that happened, we all know about, we don't need to mention it. Again, it's always got the board are always going to get a bit of stick for that because of what happened. But I'm a big believer. The board did do a lot of things wrong, but at the end of the day, they were not on the park. They can only do so much behind the scenes on the park. They've got to do their job on the park as well. I was actually speaking to my man about it today, JP. Again, I did talk about that season against my dad, just because obviously how hard it was for us. How 11 players won the at it on a park for me is a lot more behind the scenes than just on the park. When you can accept one or two guys not turning up now and again, but the fact that every player didn't perform, that's something I still believe JP something will come out about that, because it's just it was too good for it to happen, too good to be true. But in terms of Peter Lawwell, Tam, my opinion is his record in terms of trophies under his stewardship, you can't really argue, because I'm 29 now, and really all I've really seen with Celtic, is success. I've seen maybe the odd season here or there without a trophy or without a league title, but 9 times out of 10 I've seen Celtic win something, and it's been a league. They've won about 20 odd. I think they've won 20 leagues or something since I've been a boy, roughly since I've been born. So
it all changed when Martin O'Neill came up.
Aye, really. So obviously, I was only a wee baby during the Rangers' 9 in a row. So Celtics up to 10. I can't even remember much of it, so I can't comment. But since really O'Neill, when I was growing up watching that team and through Stratton and Lennon, etc., it's really been success. He's messed about, and obviously me and JP have spoke to some agents through this, and William, who's obviously is at Motherwell now. We've spoken to a few guys behind the scenes, and we know that they messed up a few transfers. Didn't go for players that they meant for players. Wouldn't surprise me if it happened in the 10 in a row season. It happened probably every year. But we all know, Tam, that they've got a list, and if they can't get them, they need to go to the next guy, the next guy, and the next guy, and then you end up straight in the bar when you might get something you don't want.
That's when project signings started rising.
That's when you get your project. So I know for a fact that Kamala was not Celtic's first choice. It wouldn't have been his first choice, because you don't pay £3 million for a guy that's no an impact player. Well, you shouldn't, in my opinion. If they did, and that was a first choice, then that's no good scouting, in my opinion, JP, because Celtic should be going for better than a guy who's a youth player to come in and play, because he was only a young boy playing with Poland. He wasn't an established player in that team. He was playing a lot of games, but he wasn't an established Polish and an Astro. He wasn't 150 games under his belt, 100 goals. It's different. Peter Lawwell's he's always going to split opinion, JP, with a lot of fans. Some fans will say, aye, he done well. Some fans will say, no, but he messed up too many transfers. Stephen Fletcher transferred to £1 million, an extra 500 grand, whatever. He might have won your league that season. We've heard stories where obviously Williams says that there was certain guys in car parks and they didn't sign. And Ivan Toney, we don't know. Again, I've not got the authority to know everything.
I think that's when he got Barcast, I think.
He got Barcast and Yeti. I've not got the authority to know what goes behind Celtic Park scenes. I don't know what every transfer we missed out on, or who we didn't sign, or who we didn't get. I don't know. But Peter Lawwell's, in terms of trophies, he's a very, very successful chief executive. If you look at his trophies under his stewardship, you've missed out on certain trophies, but some certain trophies were due to goal difference with O'Neill, or 1 point, or whatever. That's not down to Peter Lawwell. Some signings in certain seasons, yes. Some appointments. Lonnie Dyer's no everybody's cup of tea, but people come out and say, even Rodgers has basically come out and say Dyer started his tenure because something already in place. But again, JP, I don't want to spend too much. I know I'm talking about it now, and I'm about details. I'm just trying to get the point. Obviously, my opinion, but I don't want to spend too much on it, man. But your opinion on obviously Lawwell, and I don't think it would be, in my opinion, Tam. I don't think it would be a decision that would be taken with good authority with fans, Tam. I think we've moved on for that direction. If he was going to be on the board in some capacity to help out in terms of running the club, in terms of maybe the money side, but in terms of recruitment, in terms of dealing transfers, for me, Tam, no way. I think we're moving in a way direction now. Peter Lawwell, for me, is done in terms of dealing with us. I think he's maybe dealing with stuff in the background. Maybe JP in terms of stuff we don't know about, in terms of off the field, no the football field. Maybe the business side, because he's a businessman. He's not a football man in terms of dealing with stuff on the park. I would say then maybe if it's one to add to is maybe, but for me, JP, I don't really think Peter Law will be the biggest guy to welcome back Celtic Park, because for me, we're moving in a far better direction than we have recently. Obviously, talking about that season and even the years before, in terms of transfers, we're moving in a better direction, a far more thought process, oiled machine, as you've said. I know Tam says, I know he won 29 trophies. I understand that, Tam, but I think sometimes
he didn't win the trophies.
No, I know. Under his stewardship, we won 29 trophies.
Aye.
But I think sometimes, JP, sometimes the mistakes you make sometimes outweigh the positives in a lot of fans' eyes. And for me, I don't think Peter Lawwell would be. I don't want to say no welcomed. I just don't think it'd be the right way to go about things if he ever came back, JP.
No, I'll keep this brief, mate. He had his time. He was there for 18 years.
Yeah, that's exactly Joseph.
That's a long,
sorry,
long
mate.
time for a chief executive to stay at a club for.
Sorry, there, mate. But Joseph, hi, mate. Thanks for listening again, mate. Peter Lawwell goes back. It's nonsense. No, I agree with you. I don't think Ange would welcome it as well, mate, because not that he was welcome. I think he's building his thing here, and like you say, JP, I don't think it would be any sort of thing Celtic would be considered in terms of the football side, anyway.
No. It won't be. In my opinion, it's not going to benefit the club by the way it's been run just now. It would be silly, I think, to go. In my opinion, you just don't go back away. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. It's like try to bring players back, I know we've done it with Lennon, but at the time we were in desperate need of somebody, and we brought in a guy we know how just to see the season out through, and little did we know that he obviously was going to get offered the job. But again, that was all down to Lawwell. Mm-hmm. Because he was friendly with Lennon, and he felt that he had loyalties. And obviously but in terms of Lawwell, no. But he's had his time. He was there for 18 years. It was a successful time. But in my opinion, he was part of the issue that cost us the 10 in a row. Mm-hmm. Decision making, things that were done behind the scenes, the way things went about. You hear the former players speaking, like Lustig. He wanted to stay. They were wanting to take pay cuts on wages and just treating guys that were really good servants to the club. But totally disrespectful. Have a bit more about you. Offer the guy. He was only wanting 2 years. You were only offering him a year. It's common sense, mate. I know there's no buyback, but he's been a loyal servant to the club for so long. And in terms of getting into an experience where you're going to be, you get into a season where you need as much experience as you need to try and get that team out of the line. Who knows? I mean, even Lustig, etc., the season might still appear out the way it did. But he would have been experienced. Instead of bringing in guys like Jeremy Toljan and, like some of the lack of ability that we ended up with, in my opinion, that's indefensible and inexcusable, and he was part of that issue.
Yep.
But I'm not going to dwell too much on the negatives, because there was more positives, I think, with Lawwell in terms of the success we had and, what he did bring to the club. I mean, he stabilised the club. He was well suited after as well, mate. I think Liverpool and Arsenal tried to get him at the time he was with Celtic, and he rejected both approaches to stay. So he showed a bit of loyalty to the club as well. But in terms of bringing him back, no, it's a big no-no for me. I think we're in good hands now. I think moving forward, we're in the right place. We've got the right manager at the helm. And I think, as I say, it's moving forward. But I'm not speaking about Lawwell anymore.
No, but again, Tam, I appreciate your comment, mate. It's good to debate. Obviously, the last bit, mate, VAR and Astro pitches, mate. Obviously, VAR.
Oh, VAR.
Don't want to spend too much on it, mate. But
there's a hot topic, yeah.
Don't want to spend too much.
As long as we've not got Stevie Wonder in the box again, we'll be all right, I think.
Don't want to spend too much on it, mate. We've done enough talking on it, but obviously it's back in place now. Obviously, we'll have it this weekend.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's on Sky Sports as well. So we could see hopefully see the lines in every single one that might be contentious, not just selective VAR decisions.
Well, that's it.
But I do think, JP, that again, it's probably going to be the last week I want to talk about it because it's going to be every week now. But I do feel, JP, that I hope the thing I hope maybe I know it's only been a week, but I hope the weeks can pass that it could be a bit quicker and no having to spend 2-3 minutes on a decision that, excuse my French, that is fucking obvious that it's what it is.
Yes.
It's clear and it's the what the fuck it is. I hope whoever the referee, I can't remember who the referee is again on Sunday. Wally Collum. I hope.
And I think it's Alan Moore that's VAR official.
I know who the referees are for the Morris game, but no for Sunday's game. I know Steve McLean's in the VR again, which is how that happens, but we all know why it happens. But we'll move on.
He should have been sacked after last week.
Aye. But we'll move on, mate. I don't want to get into that because we can talk about all day about that on podcast. But mate, VR's obviously back in, and then I'll obviously go into the Astro bits, mate.
Well, I mean, like I said to you before, Ryan, I don't want us to be coming on here and having a chat. And obviously then it becomes a circus because that's what I want. I want to enjoy the football. I don't want to be coming on wondering, about VAR and obviously, the decision making of VAR and everything else. But no, as I said, mate, it needs to be, as long as it's done properly and they learn their mistakes and speed up a wee bit, then obviously we should get somewhere with it. Like I said, the decision making at Tynecastle was a shambles in terms of the length of time it took to I mean, that the one with Carter Vickers, it's a penalty. Mm-hmm. And Stephen McLean's got to be saying to him, you need to go and watch this, because I think that's a penalty. Cammy Devlin wins the ball, it's a penalty. Or it's a penalty. It shouldn't take a minute and a half to decide, right, you need to go to the monitor. I don't know if he's, he was watching, I don't know, he might have been watching something else. Maybe he was watching Sports Scene for last week or something, I don't know. But
I think he was sitting with Hollyoaks with a calm away from a cup of tea.
Might have been sitting, sitting down the crossword or something like that. Might have been like the way the tune of fact the control tower. They're all pulling the chair and all that, and they're all pulling them back. But you just don't know what's going on in there. But I really hope the speed of it is totally. I mean, obviously you've got the Mora first, so we'll see the Mora with the other games. But I just hope the speed of it is totally different. And you said yourself, Ryan, it's on Sky, so it's going to be scrutinised again, mate, on the telly. And I don't want that to happen every week, mate. I don't want this to become a big circus and you're going to have, like, James McFadden and, John Hartson maybe sitting on Sky. They're not getting a chance to talk about the football, Ryan, because they're spending 30, 40 minutes having to talk about VAR.
I know.
And we're doing the same. Like, part of this podcast, that we're not really talking about Celtic too much. I don't want this to become a thing where we're massively talking about VAR either. No. Because it's a technology. That's all it is. It's not something that should have a big impact on us. And like I said, but I said to you at the beginning, you're only getting a moron a technology to become a bigger and better moron. And that's what happens with the referees. Like I say, the referees they're in a huff because they never get picked for the school team.
A comment for YouTube, Peg Leg Langerson, and good name. I heard the same two who are on VR at Tynecastle are doing again tomorrow with Aberdeen and Sefco. I think that's right, mate.
But it's flipped round. It's flipped round. Stephen McLean's a ref and whatever his name's on VAR.
Nick Walsh. It was Nick Walsh, wasn't it?
Walsh. I don't know what you think.
For our game, Jason, obviously. I know you were busy a minute ago there, Jason, but for our game, like I said to Ryan, it's Wally Collum, it's the referee, and it's Alan Muir, that's the VAR official. That's a barrel of laughs, wasn't it? Well, hi. I'm just going to say to you, what's your thoughts?
Fucking much more of the same, innit, really? It'll favour, it'll just, we'll not get it. I'll say right now, we'll go through. I'm going to say it right now. They'll get a penalty. There'll be a penalty at Ibrox tomorrow, and we'll go through this. We'll again by the end of this weekend, we still won't have a penalty. There you go.
But the only thing is, Jason, we can only get a penalty if something happens. We can't just get a penalty.
No, of course.
Something happened last week.
Aye. No,
Yeah.
I agree, mate. I do think I'm like JP like you as well. I don't want to speak about it too much, but I just thought I'd get a wee mention because obviously it's going to be in all the time now, so we don't need to go back every week now and talk about it. It's done. Obviously, if something comes up, Jason, we'll flag it. We'll say what we need to say, and we'll know fat about the bush. We'll say what we need to say. But obviously, Jason as well. Astro pitches in Astro Park. I'm a big believer that Astro Park hinders teams. People might think I'm absolutely full of shite, but I'm only talking through experience. When, like, say you play a team that's maybe the third division or a 2 or 3 leagues down below you in a cup competition, and you're playing for, like, I played an amateur team night, and the park was beautiful, bowling green every week, beautiful. And you're going to play these Astro teams. It's freezing cold. It's Baltic. These teams are used to playing every week. People think that's a lot of shite. I think it's, if you're not used to playing an Astro every week, a good player should be adapting. I get that, right? But the parks are horrible. They're sticky. The ball doesn't run through. It just doesn't. You're not getting the same pattern of play, the same things going on a grass park as you would on an Astro. And I wouldn't imagine Livi, Jason, would be wanting the park to the heavens, because they know that's the way we want to play. We want the ball slick and moving. I can't see Livi doing that, Jason. I know in Holland, I think they've come out recently and says, I'm sure, don't quote me, it might not be all the divisions, but I know in the TAP League by 2025 they're abolishing Astro Parks, which I think is fucking brilliant. I think it's brilliant. Big comment for George. Bedtime. Thanks for tonight, guys. No, thanks, George, for listening, mate. I think, Jason, for me, Astro Parks, in terms of 5-a-sides, 7-a-sides, 5-a-sides, fine. But in terms of professional football, Jason, I don't like it. It doesn't look good on the TV. If Celtic were only playing Livi on Sunday, I wouldn't watch it because I don't like the product of it. I don't think it looks professional. Same when we play Kelly, it just looks awful in the eye. I don't like them, Jason. I want them away, but I know why these teams get it, because it helps them financially, because they can rent it out, they can get 5-a-sides, 7-a-sides. Sunday teams can play Saturday afternoons. They can make money off it. It's more beneficial financially. But how can teams like Lithgow Rose have an absolutely fantastic grass park with a groundsman? And they're obviously they're in this pyramid system now, I'm sure. So they've got a groundsman who they can't give him mega money. Like the Anderson groundsman could get more money than that groundsman. How is their park very playable most weeks when it's the same rain, the same weather? How could they not have a grass park and do the exact same? I know they need to pay a wage for the groundsman, which again with the Astro, Jason, all you need is a guy to roll it and water. You don't need a guy to pick it, and so the maintenance, it's less cost with maintenance with an Astro Park, Jason, for some of these clubs, which I get. But in terms of try to attract better players, Jason, and better on the eye quality wise for the league, I don't like it, and I think it should be. If it could be abolished in a few years, then I would like it to happen, because I don't like it, Jason. But that's just my opinion.
Nah, I've never liked it. I never ever thought why it was a good idea to bring it in. I play in Astro pitches with my team. I still play in a Sunday League team, and there's boys in my team that can't play in a grass pitch. I think that's. I much prefer a grass pitch, but I can totally understand how teams get used to playing in an Astro pitch. I do agree with you on the Bonnyrigg Rose thing, how they can get a groundsman, but Livingston can. I don't necessarily buy that. I just think Livingston have seen sort of Livingston Commander and all that. I've seen how to save money, and they've went with it. And I don't think that it's very professional for a team to be, if they're letting Joe Public use their pitch to play 7-a-side on. because you don't know what else is happening on that pitch. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It should be abolished. It should be in my opinion, it should be the Premier League and the 3 divisions below it shouldn't have Astro pitches, and then when you get into the Lowland League and junior football, then you can have Astro pitches, but anything above the Lowland League shouldn't have an Astro pitch, in my opinion.
I can get the point, Jason, because for me, a few comments I'll put to you, JP, and I'll get your opinion, mate. A few comments. Joseph, I think some of the clubs have parks. They're legal, Joseph, the parks are legal, but they're just obviously no very good on the eye. Some of the foreign clubs have got them, but some of the foreign teams playing the weather that's ridiculous, so they need to have it, and that's maybe different. But we're no -3 every week. We're no, our winters aren't as harsh as some of these teams. Another comment as well from Pegleg again. Pegleg, Motherwell's pitch are bowling green. How come Livi and others can't be the same? That's penny pinching. That's kind of my point, JP. I understand these clubs only getting the amount of money that we get, what Rangers get from merchandise and tickets, etc., etc. But if you want a better quality of player on the park, a better quality of a product in the game, JP, I think you need to try and get the best of quality. Motherwell's Park used to be terrible, but now it's an absolute Pegleg. I don't know your name, someone's going to say Pegleg. Pegleg's comment, I think the pitch at Motherwell's fantastic. It's a brilliant partner to play on, which is absolutely brilliant to Alan Burrows, and the team there to get the park sorted, because let's be fair, Alan, I hope you don't mind, mate, it was a cow field. Now it's perfect. I agree, JP. I don't know how some teams can do it. Probably it's penny pinching because these clubs need to save, JP. That's the only thing I think it is, because it can't be in terms of they can't produce a quality of groundsman or a quality of park, because they can. If lowland teams and pyramid system teams can do it, amateur clubs can do it. Yeah. My dad coached an amateur team, and their park's very, very good. And this is in Glasgow, and they can play during the winter on it. No all the time, but they can still play on it, and it's no getting ripped up. So, don't know your opinions on the Astro Parks, JP, but I didn't like playing them on them personally. It was probably the reason why I done my knee. I didn't like it. I don't like them as a product and on the TV. I just don't like them, JP, and I understand why these teams have got them, but in terms of our game, I think if they get rid of them, it's only going to benefit attracting players and the quality on the park.
No, in my opinion, mate, all top flight football should not have an AstroTurf park at any one of the grounds. I've always thought AstroTurf comes across as very amateurish, and it's a horrible surface for certain guys who maybe have got like previous injuries and have got niggling injuries that are still working on them. I also think these parts are levelers as well for teams like myself going to them, because when we go there, it takes us a wee while maybe in the game to get set and ready to go. You're not always guaranteed to a fast start. I know we try and blow teams away in the first half as we can, but that's not a guarantee with these pitches. You kind of have to go and build yourself into the game and try and get your touch. And because as far as I'm led to believe, Celtic don't even train on that pitch. They don't train on an AstroTurf pitch before the game.
I know they've got an Astro at Lennoxtown just to train on.
They don't use it.
I know.
As far as I know, they don't use it, and I think that was years gone past now for the last time it was used. But like I says, I don't think AstroTurf parks should be anywhere near top flight football, especially when you've got games on Sky and you're trying to showcase your product around the world. I don't think the kind of pitches are going to help you, and it's not nice on the eye as well for punters who maybe in a neutral position. So no, I totally agree. But going back to the comment, and I think it was George that commented on other. Was it George or Joseph? Joseph commented on other pitches abroad. I think one or two of them have, mate, but I think a lot of them use this hybrid pitch now.
Aye.
A lot of especially a lot of your bigger teams like your Dortmunds and your Bayer Leverkusens. That's how they can play an expansive brand of football, because that's what's a Celtic Park. And and that's how the ball moves so slick. Because it's got a form of artificial grass, but it's no AstroTurf. But it's also got groans of proper grass as well. I said that like a weekend sailor there, like a Friday night punter there.
Get your grass, £2 for a pound, £2 for a pound.
Aye. You've been doing well, by the way. You're a big queue of people out your door. The fact that you're charging for that, man. But no, as I said.
There you go.
All right, I stand corrected then. Cheers for that, peg leg. I stand corrected. I didn't think they trained on it anymore. I thought that it stopped after, because I know, like say with Lennon, we used to train on it. But as I say, no, it's definitely not a surface. It's for me. I don't think it should be anywhere near the top flight in Scottish football if we're going to try and showcase our brand. But no.
No, I agree, mate. I didn't like playing on it. I used to hate playing. I'm a big believer it is a leveler in terms of quality, because I know I'm a big believer our players should be able to adapt and teams should be able to adapt their style of play. But if you're not used to playing on that, and then like you say, you need to warm up, you need to get used to it. It does take its toll. But a wee comment as well from Tam. I agree with you as well, Tam. Let the Celtic fans in without limiting, and then they can't say penny pinching. Again, Tam, you're right. Hearts are limiting, obviously Hearts are grass, but Hearts have limited ticket sales. Rangers obviously done it. We all know why they've done it. Certain teams have all. I don't know why. I know that they're doing it to let the many of their fans in, but these teams do not sell out their stadiums. So why would you not want your team getting more money, a better atmosphere with the Celtic fans? It looks better on TV. It looks better for the players. It looks better for everybody when there's a full crowd. It's like St Mirren. They didn't. Ross County in the early doors of the season didn't give Celtic full allocation, and there was empty seats in the Ross County end. Empty seats. I've always said, Jason, these are the games that if I was a St Mirren fan, St Johnstone, Ross County, whatever, even Rangers, this is including Rangers in this capacity, Celtic Rangers are the two best teams in the league. They've got the two best quality players in the league in terms of teams. So why should you not be buzzing to go and see these guys play live? It's like us in Champions League. I'm there to go and see Celtic play, Jason, but I'm buzzing to go see Modric and Mbappe and Neymar and fucking Toni Kroos and Timo Werner play. I want to see these guys in the flesh to see how the standard is. So for me, if I'm a St Mirren fan, right, I'm just going to St Mirren because they've beat us this year, right? What's the difference between Curtis Main and Kyogo? We all know there's a big difference, right? But on the eye, why are they sharper? What do they do better than him? That I'd love for me as a fan to go and see a difference. That's why I don't understand. I understand, Jason, it can be pricey.
You've been listening to Lee Johnson?
Who? What? Then Tony Adams again?
No, rodeo man.
No, again, only Johnson. I think he talks a lot of sense, but the Scottish media seem to put him down. But Jason, I don't know what you think obviously that, mate.
Not because of that ticket, mate.
Aye, but I just think, Jason, that in terms of the penny pinching, the last bit about that, then we'll go on the last wee bit about the game on the weekend, Jason. But I do feel that they just need to stop all this shite and just let all the fans back in at every run, get their teams more money, get us fans in, because some fans who have been going for years can't get a away ticket now because of their cutting allocations. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But they're conning the fans out of enjoyment. They're conning the clubs out of money. They're in clubs out of money because they know Celtic Rangers are going to fill up their stones. So they're maybe missing a few £1,000 a week with doing it. That could play a player's wages for 1 week. Do you know what I mean? So I understand, Jason, why they're doing it, but at the same time, I think it's fucking bollocks, personally.
I don't understand it either. I can guarantee you that they'll come out at the end of the season and they'll say that they're a loss financially. Would want to get themselves to blame. Tynecastle last week, they cut the allocation to let many of their fans in. You seen empty seats were about the stadium. I think the only team that does it, Livingston, even Kilmarnock have cut the allocation for some reason.
I think there's 7,000 for Sunday. 7 odd thousand.
I think that only holds about 9,000, but then they usually give you the 3 stands.
Aye.
So, see if the home support sold out their stadium, I wouldn't have an issue with it. But they don't. So they would rather their stadium was half empty. I don't know. It's the same when you go to Hampden and they go, we want half and half.
Aye.
You them half and half, and there's a cup final and there's empty seats.
But see even on that, aye, but see last bit on that, JP, see even if they can't sell it right, why not give the tickets to the homeless or give it to kids at school or kids who people know where laughing kind of, why, if that was the case, and I go, you know what, right, maybe take some away and get to them, let people who can't go to the games or they can't get the games because of their circumstances or whatever, give kids, give homeless, give people, give that's absolutely fine. But when you're just not giving anybody them, and then I don't understand it, JP. I understand it, but I don't understand why you want your stadiums full.
No, it's mind-boggling, totally baffling. Even there's guys with young kids out there that can't afford to take their kids to games because a lot of places have made it that expensive now to get to. Because it's not just taking a kid to the game. You need to buy the Wayne something, and the Wayne might want a scarf. The Wayne might want a match day programme, etc. You need to kind of try and make things a bit more accessible. And a way to do that would be giving away some tickets, try and get people to the game, people in the local area, maybe even people that aren't football fans but just want to do out to do something. No, I think that's a great point, mate. I think, it's called using your noodle. And it doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't really happen in Scotland.
I understand it's a business, and I understand people are, they're trying to make money. But you'll make money because if you take some money off your ticket prices, people will come through your gates.
Yep.
And then you'll make money in a match day because people will come in and they'll buy things for it, make things a bit more accessible to people. Don't make things that hard and then start wanting to cut your nose off to spite your face. No, but you know what? We're not giving away fans or the tickets.
But that's true what you say. See, like you're saying about obviously people will buy things. See, maybe the £5 that they're spent on a pie, that's maybe a £5 they might put towards a slip or a £5 towards a training gear or a match day scarf.
Mm-hmm. But it's madness, mate. And like I say, it's probably not going to change anytime soon. But
again, mate, that's something we could speak about in depth because for me, I'm a big believer in getting more fans into run, especially these days, considering the situation. Some people can't afford to go. But Jason, the last bit, mate, and then I'll go to JP for his thoughts. The last bit, mate, on the game, mate, your opinions and what you think will occur on the day.
I think we will win, but I'm not expecting it to be. I'm expecting it to be scrappy and quite. Just a scrappy and quite a sticky game. So I think we'll win 2-1. And I'll bite your horn off for that now. I think Livy will be up for it. I think we will need to be on by the game to get the result, but I think we will. But I am saying 2-1 Celtic.
I think I'd probably agree with you in terms that I don't think, again, there could surprises, but I don't think it's going to be fast-flowing, free-flowing football because of the park. But obviously, it all depends on who you play. I know most of the team are all technically very good, but it all depends who his lineup is as well. But for me, JP, I'm somewhat adjacent. I think we will win the game. I think we've got to win the game now because obviously it's getting to the stage now where you're going to start looking at their results on Saturday. If there's that points, right, we're winning the weekend. We win, we can push on. I think it's a bit pushing on now, JP. I think that will be drawn into the players now, right? Obviously, we've still got a game left in Europe, but Europe's just about done. Just time, I'm not saying put it to the back burner, but get Tuesday out of the way. I'm just going to put this lightly here. Try and get a pumping. Just go out with a bit of pride, good performance, and then we move on to the league. But the league's obviously still on Sunday, Europeans Tuesday. For me, JP, I think it will be a bit scrappy, especially early on. I think I agree with you, mate. If we get an early goal, JP, I think the game should just push on itself. I think if you get the first goal, the whole crowd will be on there. The whole crowd will rise up, and I think they will be on the back burner. So I think an early goal's very, very, very decisive in my opinion. I think if you get the first goal, I think for me, JP, you just roll on because if they get the goal, they'll just defend. They'll park the bus. They'll not go and attack. They'll just frustrate the fucking life out of you. And it could be a sit-minute game or any game. It could be batting the door down, and you just get fucking nowhere, which we all know can happen because these teams, as much as they might not be good in terms of quality to you, they know how to fucking defend against you because they'll just put that low block, they'll just put a 5 back and just defend. So, but I think JP, I'm similar to Jason. I think the first 5-10 minutes is crucial. Get yourself set on the game, get used to obviously the conditions, and just try and get an early goal and steamroll for there.
Definitely, mate. That's my thoughts. We scored early. Goals change games, right? And they change games in terms of the opposition strategies and everything else. So they might want to set up, defensively against us with a low block, try to frustrate us. We get an early goal, that changes that because then they can't sit with a low block too long. Because then if they want to enter the game, they need to commit.
Yeah.
And Livingston, in my opinion, are not great aside to come out and have the manpower to play around about us. So they're big, they're stuffy, they'll make things hard, but they're no technically gifted enough to come down and try and, play in and out the lines and, play around about us. We'll try and lump balls up to Big Nubley and hope for knockdowns. You know what's going to happen now. So as I said, it's no rocket science. But no, I just want to see us win a game. Like I said before, mate, I want to see us win as many games now as we can. Let's try and put a bit of pressure on our mob across the water. They're going through a bit of a damp squib at the moment in terms of their results. So now's the perfect time, I think, for any team going up against them to get points, and probably now's the best time for us to now kick on as well. And that's just what I want to see us do. So, yeah, in terms of the game at the weekend, I do think Celtic will win. It's never always straightforward, as it's going to be a canter. It was the last time. I hope it follows that sort of same pathway. And as I said, I think we'll win the game.
Hopefully on Saturday there's Paw Patrol everywhere, there's jam and marmalade stands everywhere, and Gio's going to have his nut, but we never know.
Hopefully Bear running about the next one.
Hopefully he's got his remote control to...
Well, it's Halloween, so he might be dressed up as one of his favourite characters.
Bye, lads. Again, I really appreciate your time. It's been good to chat again. Happy wee faces as usual. But anybody who likes it, again, thanks to everybody who's... Tam, I'm off-ski, boys. Enjoyed listening. Hail. Thanks, Tam, again.
Cheers,
thanks everybody who's joined in the live stream. Again, everybody who likes the content, please subscribe to our YouTube. If you don't know how to get onto YouTube, you need to make a wee account. Just make a wee account, type in the podcast name, and click the wee bell for notification. We go live, and any live videos we get.
You just set up a wee email address and a password for yourself, and then you can get onto.
Set a wee account.
It becomes your actual page.
Again, we're live roughly 2-3 times a week on this. The more people subscribe, the more content we can get out, the more fans we can get out to obviously interact with as well. We're on TikTok as well. Just type in the name of the podcast for TikTok. Me, JP and Jason are on Twitter as well. The Twitter page is just the podcast name, and you'll find myself, JP and Jason on that as well. Every podcast that was coming on, we'll put a wee Twitter post up to let you know what's happening. And just please subscribe. Pegleg, hail guys. Thanks for Pegleg. We'll need to get your name, mate, because I don't know who you. I don't want to call you Pegleg. Jason, brilliant, Ryan. Safe trip to Spain, and thanks, mate. I'll appreciate it. Hopefully, we come back with a victory, some sunshine, mate. But again, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all platforms. And I hope anybody who's going to Spain, by the way, I'm taking the flyers with me. You'll see me. Get a flyer and subscribe to the channel, please. Supports us all, and get the free content out there. But again, lads, hail. Keep safe, good weekend, and enjoy your weekend, lads. Hail. Cheers.
Yes, hail, boys.
Hail, lads. See you later. Cheers.
See you later, mate.